What is up, everybody? Good morning.
What's up,
morning.
everybody?
Morning. Point Podcast.
Hey, did everybody enjoy their extra hour?
I'm Andrew Z. We got
Yeah, we got a thumbs down over there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Michael. How I know you, Michael. I know you crap on everything. How can you crap on an extra hour of sleep?
It screws up my body when the time changes. It makes me feel like it's 7 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. or something like that. So it takes a little bit for me to get used to it again.
No worse than that Cane's chicken screws up your body.
Oh man,
you got that right.
Hello. Don't start with me, Donnie. Don't start with me, Donnie. Well, we might as well. Donnie brought it up. We might as well start there. I know it's a side note for Cedar Point, but the very first Cane's Chicken in this area was at in Sandusky, which is the home, of course, of Cedar Point. Yep. Northwest Ohio, up in the Toledo area, we got our first Cane's Chicken last week, and I tried it yesterday, and garbage.
Really?
I don't know
what it was not good at all.
What you're?
That's a bummer, Andrew. They're actually building one by me right now.
Terrible.
Oh yeah, Dave's up in Michigan.
Yeah.
What was so bad about it?
Yeah, it's David. It's terrible, Dave. Well, first off, the chicken strips. Well, you can call them chicken strips. You can call them chicken fingers. You can call them long nuggets. Yep. It doesn't matter what you call them. they're all the same. But bottom line, Cedar Points are better than Cane's.
All right, there we go.
Yeah,
because Cedar Points. I mean, they're fresh. They're hand dipped as well. They're not frozen, I don't believe, from what I remember reading. They're hand dipped tenders, and they're delicious. Mm-hmm. And I mean, these are just flavorless. The sauce is overrated. The coleslaw was unedible, to where, I mean, I'm a coleslaw fan. My wife's a coleslaw fan, and you eat that coleslaw, and there's even a weird aftertaste. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, it literally was you take 2 bites, it was unedible.
Ew.
The bread. Everyone cares about the bread. The bread was fine. It wasn't anything special. I mean, dude, it's just so overrated. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Well,
I'll take your word for it.
Looking forward to it.
Somebody just said, "Where's the link on the chat?"
That was me, Dylan.
Hold on.
Well, what do you know? Andrew's having technical difficulties, huh?
It was the Cane's Chicken's gods. The gods of Cane's Chicken struck him down.
It wouldn't be a show if we didn't have technical difficulties.
Right.
I was trying to.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to get you that link, Donnie. I couldn't do it. Sorry.
Is it live somewhere though? Sorry to.
You guys not hear me?
We hear you now.
Yeah, I got you. Good.
We hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. If you just go to the. Okay.
I think you got a delay or something on you, though, Andrew.
Cane's Chicken was basically a I know. I don't understand. Basically, I'm going to try one more thing. You guys talk amongst yourself. Give me 10 seconds.
So, what other good chicken places are in Sandusky over there by Cedar Point?
Oh, Frickers, which is in
Frickers.
Pony. They are the best.
Yeah,
I love Frickers.
Yes, Frickers is awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Chick-fil-A also?
Chick-fil-A overrated.
Michael, my wife feels the same way. My kids love it. I mean, I like it. I'm not super addicted to it, but my wife is like, no, thanks.
My wife's the same way. She wants Chick-fil-A all the time. I tell her, hell no, it's just overrated.
Just because they're not here in Michigan, they're not where I live. You can't find a single Chick-fil-A. So,
we got one by my house.
I mean, Chick-fil-A. I think Chick-fil-A is overrated as well, but it's decent food. This was just really so, and it's just you buy into the hype, and I gave it extra. Like, I know it's not going to be as good as the hype is, but it just was really bad. I mean, it was really disappointing. So yeah, I would say I would. First of all, when do you ever crave chicken fingers? I mean, if you're not 12 years old, who's going, man, I need some.
Well, wait a minute, aren't you the one that's always eating the long nuggets?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the long nuggets for a while.
No, only because that's all you can get at Cedar Point. Every damn restaurant's got some long nuggets at Cedar Point. It's the only place in the world where you get that many places all in one place that serve long nuggets.
Yeah.
By the way, I missed the live chat at the park. I know you guys did it, but I wasn't available. So
it was a shit show. It's fine. I mean,
it was a shit show.
It was a shit show.
It was yeah.
Okay, so let me find Nicole. She says she's backstage. There she is. Okay,
she's in the dressing room right now. Her hair.
The good thing is we met Nicole and a couple others. That's about it, Dylan.
What was that?
Hey.
Oh, there's Nicole.
Hi.
Nicole,
for a while, just listening and waiting.
You have any thoughts on Raising Cane's before we move on?
I've never had it, but there's the one opening in Michigan, so
yeah,
everybody's all pumped about it.
Yeah, right down the street from my house.
They suck.
Now,
everything's by Dave's house, though. You've got everything there.
Yeah.
You do. There's nothing by my house, as Dave learned. We don't even have a gas station.
Yeah.
I live in the woods, man.
Yeah.
So what did everyone think about Cedar Point the last weekend? We were all there the last weekend except Dylan. What was everyone's thoughts on it? I thought it went well. We got on some decent stuff. Now my kids, which
you just said it was a shit show.
No, the broadcast was. The
broadcast was a shit show.
Yeah.
But I still was glad we tried.
Yeah, and I'm glad we got to get together, which was cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I do have to say, my mom took took the kids to Cedar Point. So Colleen and I went. We kind of did our own thing. We had our own hotel. The girls and Grandma stayed at Breakers. But they ended up against my better judgment on Saturday night. They ended up getting the fast pass for haunted houses, $90 a piece.
Oh my gosh!
Passes.
Wow!
Holy clap!
Which is why I guess it wasn't that bad for them. But I couldn't believe she spent as much on those as she would have spent for season passes for the entire season. Yeah. She spent it for 4 hours of fun.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm sure it was worth it because I mean we got in line an hour before the freak show opened and got in. We got in right away, and then of course Dave had some passes for us to get through Erie Estates. Otherwise, I mean, that was like a 2-hour line. And Friday wasn't that bad. We did Friday night and the crowds weren't actually that bad. So we did get on a couple of roller coasters. What was the crowd like on Saturday night with you guys?
Packed.
It was busy, but not like the previous Saturday. But it was packed. I mean, Millennium had like an hour and a half. But last weekend I had like a 4-hour line. So put that.
I heard that Sunday was dead. Some friends went up Sunday, but they didn't do because they don't do the scare zones, but they open the haunted houses, but not till 5. They do them 5 to 8, but they weren't doing the haunted houses. They were up there to ride. So they had some really short wait times. They were up there for about 5 hours on Sunday.
I wouldn't say it was dead. It was a decent crowd. Lines, coasters had, 45-minute waits, and that. So,
Dave, you being the amusement park expert, what could they do so that you're not so you don't go for when it gets dark from 6 or 7 until midnight, those 5 hours where you can get on more than 2 things? Like, is there anything they can do? I talked about getting off the weekends to where maybe it's open more 5 or 6 days, but most people are still going to go on the weekends. Is there anything anyone can do, or is that it just is what it is?
Well, it is what it is. Well, a couple things. It is what it is. Halloween weekends, especially when there's good weather, it's going to be slammed, absolutely slammed. It got to the point last weekend, but the weekend before, where they actually had to close the gate. I guess they hit capacity.
Oh wow!
Whoa!
Yeah, it was that crazy. Part of the problem is too. I know a lot of people probably disagree with this. Is the fast lane system needs an overhaul? They're just letting too many people through at fast lanes, which really does affect the standby line. The people at the flash lanes, they can go on in limited times. They get off the ride, get back in line. Get off the ride, get back in line.
That's what I do when I go.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
The problem.
My wife does the same
really
thing.
Holding up the standby line, and the solution to that is like maybe during Halloween weekends only, instead of being able to do it all on limited times, maybe one time per big coaster. You know what I mean? Instead. So
what?
That's
man.
Yeah, that won't fly with the wife, and I think you can understand why, Dave.
My
wife has it for a reason, though.
But it doesn't matter what it'll do to me or an individual person. It's what's going to be best for everybody.
Right.
And maybe that is the best solution, where you can't just keep mucking up the line going on the same rides over and over and over. You have to like here, I'm going to give you another example. And this would not benefit me, but I'm looking at the health of Cedar Point. I think it was wasn't it downgraded, Dave? The stock was downgraded a little bit. Look, they have to address some issues. So here's my thought. The only one that buy passes, park passes, are ones that are going to use them a lot. Like, it's not gonna, you don't buy a park pass to use it once. So Cedar Point gets the benefit. Everyone is benefiting. The buyers, all the buyers are benefiting because they know they're going to go more than twice. So what would happen if they just eliminated season passes? Now, of course, that doesn't benefit me. It would be horrible. My wife's looking at me crazy. But for the benefit of Cedar Point, because I'm a lost money. Once I pay my money, I'm a lost customer for the next, 9 visits that I go, or 10 visits. So I'm going to go either way, even if there's not season passes. Like, I don't want them to hear this.
I really hope Cedar Point's not listening, and he has tons of horrible ideas. If you are, trust me, I have a track record.
What I'm saying is,
Colleen speaks.
But I'm saying is, you're getting a world-class amusement park. Why should you not have to pay for it if you're going to go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times? Why should you get to do it for free at the detriment of Cedar Point's bottom line?
You're not getting it for free. You're paying the money for it, for one.
Yeah.
I mean, two, they do make a lot of money off the season pass sales in general. However, here's the issue I have with them. Like, I have Six Flags, Cedar Point, Busch, Universal season passes.
Mr. Big Stuff.
And
well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
The big problem with the season passes is once you buy a season pass, people don't spend money in the parks after that. And one of the biggest complaints I hear about that is typically season passes at other chains have a better discount for their season pass holders. Cedar Point only has 10%. If you're a platinum pass holder, like Busch Gardens, I get 40%. Six Flags, I get 50% off.
Awesome.
Not only food but merchandise.
I think it's 20 with the Prestige Plus, though.
Yeah, but you're paying all that
now
money.
Johnny's big stuffing.
For employees, they need to bump that up a little bit higher for employees. So it's only 20% for us employees, and it's just that perk ain't even worth it. The hell you go through just working for the company.
I guess my point is, we're enjoying a world-class music park. Maybe we should have to pay for it more because, like you said, Dave, we are paying for it up front, but you're only paying for 2 visits. If you're going 10 times, that's 8 visits that you're going for free. And I'm saying for the health of the park, maybe maybe all parks should just get rid of season passes. And if you want to go enjoy a park, you pay. That's just with anything. If you go to a movie, you pay every time you go to a movie because you want to see the movie. If you want to go to an amusement park, you should pay every time, and it would help their bottom line as opposed to someone like me.
I disagree, Andrew.
I disagree too.
I'll get to give me 10 seconds.
I'm not with you on this one, Andrew.
Give me 10 seconds. I'll get to you, Donnie. I promise. So, like, if I pay for food, whatever it is, $120, the food pass. We all have the food pass, dude. I'm gonna make sure I get as much food as possible and use it as many times as possible. They are not making money off me, and I think most people feel that way. If they're getting a pass, they're going to get their money's worth, and they're going to overuse it. And it's going to affect their bottom line.
You got to think of it this way too. The food pass, for example, you pay $120 for it, but their cost of food is a hell of a lot cheaper than what you're paying for food. That chicken nugget meal that you're paying $20 for or whatever normally, it probably costs them $2 or $3.
But still, Dave. But if I'm getting 2 meals a time, and I'm getting 20 meals or 25 meals over the season at $20, it's $400 or $500 worth of money that they could be getting. Instead, they're getting $100. So I mean, I'm telling you, these passes are losing them money. And I know short-sighted, they get all this money in up front, but I think long term, it's hurting their bottom line. Go ahead, Donnie.
So I have a couple of points. First, are you saying that even with the food pass, you don't spend any money when you're in the park? You personally, are you spending? You're not buying any extra drinks, any extra snacks, souvenir. You're not spending any money?
If I have the food pass, which we do, if we have the drink pass and we have the pass, we go to the park, and most people I think spend zero to a little bit of money, but not near what you would spend if you're there on a regular ticket.
Yeah, but if you have a regular ticket, you're only going once. You're going to spend a little bit more money.
Yeah, so I definitely would not go as much as I go without a season pass. Number one, I would probably go because I've only been doing the season passes for about 5 years, and we used to go twice a year. We would go once during the season, and we would go once during Halloween weekends. So that I would definitely not go as much. Number one. Number two, I spend a ton of money every time I go, and I at least $100, maybe close to $200 every time we go, because we drink in the park. That's food. Let's say we do 2 or 3 rounds of drinks for just one whole day. That's $60 to $80 right there. I don't do the food pass. So, like for example, Friday we tried to go to we tried to eat at the farmhouse, but the line was too long. I mean, I thought it was fine, but the kids didn't want to wait. So we just went over to the popcorn. There's like, when you're looking at the farmhouse, right to the left, there's a little popcorn stand. They're firing up the kettle every 5 minutes. So we went over there and got 2 boxes of popcorn. So all we ate Friday in the park was 2 boxes of popcorn, which were like $20 a piece. So now we're over $100. And then we bought a little glowy thing, and then we stopped and got a Squishmallow. So I'm at $150 to $200, and I was only there from 5 to 11, and we spent $200, and that was one visit. So it's definitely you're the outlier, Andrew. People with season passes go up, food pass or not, spend $50 to $100 a visit, and that's where they're raking in the money. It's like giving away a free pass for a comedy show because they're going to buy a bunch of food and liquor.
Well, that makes sense, but I don't know. But that's the question I would have to ask. I don't know if I'm the outlier. I talk to a lot of people that have season passes, and they just go to maybe they'll go to have dinner a few nights a week, or they'll do this. I don't know if you're the outlier or I'm the outlier, and I truly don't know the answer. If I'm the outlier, then maybe you're right. Then go ahead, Nicole.
So I actually am a different type of season pass holder. So I'm like Andrew. In the park, I'm not spending any money. We have a food pass, we have a drink pass, we have season passes. I do buy a locker every time, the $10, because you guys know I got to have my bag. So
a lot of people do
buy
that.
that locker every time. That's $10. I'm spending money at the hotels. Because I'm just far enough away that driving there and back is doable. But it's a lot. So if I'm going to make the drive, I want to stay a couple of days, I'm spending money on the resorts and in the hotels. I forgot
about that part.
And that's where I spend. So I don't spend anything. I mean, when we all met up on Friday, that's the first time I bought an alcoholic drink in Cedar Point, I think, in my whole life. Because I don't drink at Cedar Point. So and you guys saw how long it took me to drink that drink.
Well, and then
it took me over an hour to drink the White Claw.
It doesn't count the bottle you bring in your bag. So
right.
I won't do that either, but
we used to.
So that's what I think. There's a lot of different ways that there's still. I don't even buy merch, you guys. Like I was certain I was buying a sweatshirt this year, and I'm like, I can't spend $60 on a sweatshirt. I'm just a cheap ass. I can't help it.
Now I truly want to know who is the because Nicole and I are basically on the same page. We could literally go down there and the kids know. I mean, they're trained now to not ask because they're not.
Yeah.
They use their food pass, they use their drink pass, they go down, ride some rides, and then we come back, and that's what they do. Or is it Donnie, where every time they get something, Donnie, you go, and then Dave, you go.
So I wanted to add another couple that I know that's like you two, and that's my oldest daughter's mom and stepdad. They actually stay every weekend on their boat up there, and they go into the park to use their food pass. So they're like they're costing Cedar Point money, but like you, Nicole and Andrew, I do believe you guys are like the outliers, and most people, the greater number, are like me, and I'm just bleeding cash the moment I pull into the causeway.
Well, the hotel, I mean, seriously, the hotels are so expensive. I mean, I spent so much money last weekend
the arcade,
on the 2 hotel rooms.
130
I
bucks
never walked in the arcade. My kids don't even look. Hunter was looking when we left for dinner, Dave's son. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know they had an arcade. Because we don't. We are there for roller coasters. And that's it. We're not there for food. And
my youngest doesn't ride roller coasters. So her thing is the arcade. So it's like,
well, like last weekend we all had a nice dinner at that Tomo in Breakers.
Oh, yes.
Which, you're going to drop $100 in there on dinner. And then you got, we spent that. I bought a couple Top Thrill Dragster things they had clearanced out, in the shop. We bought a couple drinks, alcoholic drinks. I think we played some games. Kids won some stuffed animals. So, I mean, we spend money in there. It maybe not every time we go. We might not spend a lot of money, but we do.
You probably dropped just $200 Friday alone.
Yeah. I mean, and back to the food thing too. People got to realize, it looks like a good value on the surface. You're only paying $120, but you got to remember, Cedar Point, they got like 20 parks. They're buying their food in bulk. Yeah, they're getting their food at great discounts. Those chicken nugget meals that you're paying $15-$20 for, like I said, it's costing them $2 or $3 to produce, and you would have to go 30 times to even break them for them to start losing money on that food pass. But I guarantee you 95% of the season pass holders don't go that many times and use the meal pass. There are exceptions, but not many.
I think I calculated it. You have to get like 10 meals to break even with the food pass. So that's cost. Always
right
at cost. Right. At cost. Yeah.
But
I always have that in the back of my mind.
But here's what you got to remember is, it's $2 for the nuggets, but they're also there's a lot of other costs involved. Number one, number two, if they were giving them to you on a food pass, so you'd still buy them. So I mean, you can't look at it like that. You would still eat there. You would still eat at the park, whether you had the pass or not.
We used to leave the park and eat. We used to go to McDonald's and all that and eat. Yeah. We would not eat in the park.
But I don't think that would be the norm, though. I think most people, for the convenience, are going to eat there. They're not going to lose their parking space, go out into the parking lot, go out, come back. I don't think the average person is going to do that. I think they're going to eat there.
Right.
You're right. But people that come to that park that do that, Andrew.
Yeah. Well, I understand.
And I've seen it all season.
Andrew, that's what we used to do when we used to pack a cooler and then go back out. Yeah.
But here's we have to be careful with what's an exception and what's a rule. If there's 20,000 people at the park and a percentage are going to go, so even if it's 100 or 200, but my point is the majority of them are going to stay there.
Yeah, even when I pack a cooler, whether I keep it in the car, like if we're not staying and I pack a cooler and keep it in the car, I'm still spending money on snacks and drinks.
Yep.
Gotta get some fries, gotta get maybe a corn dog or two. I mean, it's
you walk past
100%
popping the popcorn. It smells so good, you gotta have it.
I just think
same thing with the wife.
Yeah,
I just think the money they make in the park far outweighs the.
Yeah, because you smell it when you walk by it.
I think,
and again, you're paying $8 for popcorn that probably costs them 25 cents. It's
they could make it free to get in, and still kill.
Yeah, no, and I get it. I mean, I know it's controversial. I'm just saying. I think
I love it.
I knew it would be when I decided to bring it up, but I'm looking out for the park more than my personal self. See, I'm sacrificing.
Does the park even know about? Does the park even know about our little podcast? I wonder that. Probably
yes,
not.
They do.
They're listening.
Tony Clark has tried to shut us down, but legally he can't.
What?
They meet every weekend and watch. They're in the boardroom right now, at the park. They're listening to us.
What's up,
We're on a
T?
big screen. We're projected on a
Hey!
screen. There's a big wooden table in the middle. Hi, Tony. Hi.
Well, I gotta tell you, I do give.
Now.
I give. Tony Clark was walking around the park. I think it was closing weekend, all in his costume, his Halloween Weekends costume, and it was pretty cool. He was posing for pictures on the main midway with the kids. Kids ran up to him, got a picture, and all that. That was kind of cool.
So let's talk.
What was he dressed as?
Like I guess a zombie is what you call it, but he had like the airbrush on. I think he had the contact lenses in his eyes. He had the whole thing going,
Okay.
Yeah,
I saw McClure in September walking through the park with another guy. He's no longer the manager of the park, but he's like the manager of the All Cedar Fair. I don't know if you remember him.
I saw on the list that we wanted to bring up Top Thrill Dragster construction.
Dylan, that's all you want to talk about is Top Thrill
Yeah.
Dragster. You have a
Apparently a lot of
mind,
people
my
are.
friend.
I was watching. I think it was one of the. Okay, Nicole, there's some comments out there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
What are they saying?
Just comments about just some. Ian says that lots of locals that live in Sandusky buy season passes and food passes and go just for lunch and dinner. Which, yes,
my wife and I are
that's my
guilty
dream.
of it.
That's my dream. And then others saying, Melissa says that she eats before and after. They only get the drink pass. They don't buy anything there. That's how they save money. So yeah. And then Snipetown Sam is with us on YouTube saying it's much more enjoyable for me having a pass and a meal plan and not having to spend extra money in the park. So
well, of course, but see, everyone's talking about it's to their advantage. That's what I'm saying. What is to Cedar's points advantage? That's what I'm saying. I know it's to my advantage to have a drink.
You're such a corporate dude, Andrew.
which is weird because usually I'm on the other side, but I'm on the other side. But I just look as a small business person. I'm like, man, they are losing out on so much. They're giving away so much for what they get.
Andrew, you got to remember though, as a small business person, your costs and overhead are a lot higher than the corporation that, like I said, gets everything they buy in bulk. They're buying millions of pounds of chicken fingers and millions of you're only buying however many you need for your food truck.
Right.
Right. So there's a big difference there too.
No, I get
overhead
it.
cost.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk Top Thrill Dragster. There isn't really a whole lot of progress. There's not a lot to talk about. Dave, what are you hearing?
Well, I documented it in my YouTube video, so go check that out. I posted that yesterday.
Okay.
Over the last couple of weeks, not much has changed since they've removed them track sections. They're sending them to Italy, to God knows who. There's a couple manufacturers over there that work with coasters, so we don't know yet. But other than that, nothing has changed. There's no workers out there. Nothing. It's just sitting there.
But honestly, being November, I just don't. With as little progress as we've seen over the few months, and we've already said this. We think it's going to be a probably 2024 season thing, and not a 2023 season.
That could be, unless unless they're cornswoggling everybody, and the only thing that's getting replaced is a launch track. I mean, because how long could that take to put launch track sections back in?
Not long at all. Once they get them back, they can put them right back in.
So you're saying don't give up hope yet. We'll see, but
I like what Dave is saying. Don't give up hope.
Yeah.
But another interesting tidbit too. I didn't notice till after I filmed my video, but it was behind me. It looked like there was a construction cam set up on a pole in the dragster area. So perhaps they're getting ready to launch a dragster construction cam here soon.
That could be.
That would be cool.
All right, and
I have to mention on Top Thrill Dragster, there was a guy on a Braille website I'm a member of mentioned that Dragster was being dismantled, and I had to kind of put him to bed on that.
Michael, you were super excited last week, and they had both trains running. You're a train guy.
Yeah, George is George. I was kind of excited to see George finally stretch its legs again, because George is one of those that it weighs 125 tons and it puts more stress on the rail than what Judy and Myron or the GA Beckling would do.
Big old fat George.
Yeah. So I mean, my excitement to see George R. outstretching its legs again was a bit bittersweet in a way.
I'm kind of the George of this podcast. I think it's.
I'm putting stressing the rails, bro.
Yeah, I'm putting stress on the feed. That's why I'm always on a delay.
No, I mean, for me, George R. For being bittersweet, it was my adopted mother's favorite steam locomotive. No. And when we lost her in 2020 due to stage 4 breast cancer, that's why it was kind of bittersweet for me to see it stretch.
Sorry for your loss, brother.
Well, Mike, I got it in my video for you. Check it out. George,
I will. I'll check it out, bud.
So let's do this. Let's go around and want to get everyone's favorite steam locomotive. We'll start with you, Nicole. What's your favorite steam locomotive?
What is the question?
It's Big George, because I got to ride it with Michael and Dave last weekend. It's the only one I know, and there's one named Judy.
I like Judy because of her big old booty.
Yeah, that's right. Big booty Judy.
He likes big butts and he cannot lie.
I won't lie about it.
One thing I noticed last weekend was the Mouse Coaster Pavilion looking good. Looks like they're definitely on schedule.
Is Wild Mouse going to be one of those little fair like what is Wild Mouse really? I know that's coming in, but what is it? Just one of those kiddie rides or?
No, it's a spinning coaster. It's not necessarily a kiddie ride.
Cool.
Yeah, I classify it as a family ride. It's in between a kiddie ride and an adult ride. Big ride.
Because I know they're putting it in. So.
Spin and puke and a coaster.
Yeah. Right. I'm terrible with names, but I think I love finding underrated stuff. And one thing that I think was underrated that the kids rode last weekend when we were there, and I really think I love it because it's just different. Like there's nothing else like it at any park I've ever seen. And that's the Eagle. What's the Eagles where they go in circles, kind of like
Lake Erie Eagles?
What is it?
Lake Erie Eagles.
So cool. I mean, just to be able to, every ride is different, to be able to use the wind and turn your wherever you're sitting in, one way or the other. And it's really kind of a science thing for kids because it just shows how the wind can affect. You're not even going that fast. You wouldn't think that a wind could affect a ride that much, and it does. I just think it's a really cool ride that I really have not seen anywhere else, and it's underrated to me because the kids had a great ride on it.
Yeah, I love that ride, and I wanted to bring up a point. You mentioned the pavilion looking nicely, and earlier in the podcast, you mentioned what could they do to alleviate some of the stress on the lines? And I think something like the pavilion where you could go and hang out for an hour, 2 hour, an afternoon. The more they add different stuff just to chill and do, the more it'll kind of spread people out through the park. So I think this is going to be huge. I mean, they're always adding new stuff, but yeah, they're always adding new stuff. But I think there's never really been a draw over there other than Gatekeeper and doesn't get that many people. So this I think is going to be huge for like alleviating traffic throughout the park.
I agree.
And
but
when we try to do a podcast next year, maybe we can be inside.
Yeah. Do you think, let me ask you guys this about the beach project. I mean, the pavilion, yeah. But do you think the pavilion and the Mouse Coaster is enough to bring the big crowds over into that area other than the first year or two? I mean,
I do. I'm gonna
opens up more than but as the season goes on, it's gonna go downhill.
Yeah,
there's a place to drink. There's a place to eat. There's at least 4 rides over there now that people that don't ride the big rides can get to. So, or maybe you got a family like mine that's mixed. You got people that ride the big stuff and then people that don't. So we're gonna get everybody on that family coaster. You got the Troika, the Matterhorn.
Where is Wild Mouse going, by the way? Did we
right next to the pavilion?
Yeah.
Right next to the pavilion.
I mean, right now that part of the park is kind of like the Khloe Kardashian of the Kardashian family. I mean,
gets no attention.
It never gets mentioned.
But it's beautiful.
It's trying really hard. It just keeps changing and getting surgeries and updates.
It's trying
to look better and better.
I miss the old Khloe.
Well, going back to what Donnie was saying too, since he brought back up the pavilion and stuff, and we're talking about how do we alleviate some congestion. I think another way to alleviate congestion, now that you've said, Donnie, is maybe a couple more haunted houses. You got to remember, if there's 3 or 4 haunted houses and there's 20,000 people, well, obviously 5 or 6, you're going to take away 20% or 40% more of the congestion and maybe spreading it out more. I mean, obviously you can't add new rides, so So well, that's like Dave was saying, it kind of is what it is. But with rides, you're not going to build new rides, but you can build new haunted houses.
Yeah, but Andrew, you still got to staff those haunted houses, and they're having issues.
On top of that, and I've got something on that as well. I know 2 Screamsters personally I worked with in 2018, both very good friends of mine. And both of them have said they will not come back anymore to be Screamsters. The problem's not the haunts. The problem is the leadership of Hollow Weekends.
Oh, boy.
That is the biggest thing that they both have said. A lot of other Screamsters I knew.
Well, I don't know if you guys
I did in 2018 said they are not coming back, and they all cited the leadership. The 2 people that got promoted took it, ran with it, and turned it into a shit show. One of them being Eric Leslie, my old skier captain. The other one being Chris Hammond. I hate to drop names like that, but they are. A lot of people will not come back because of those 2.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Michael, but Andrew and I are former Screamsters.
Yes.
So I will say, in our experience, it was pretty nice. The way they get the makeup on. I mean,
yeah, I did it in 2018 and had a blast.
It may
Can I just make a little disclaimer here? The opinions of Michael do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the entire podcast.
Yeah, I'm actually being real about this because these 2 guys I worked with, and both of them I'm very close friends of mine. They literally said the leadership sucks so bad they're not coming back.
Give us an example. Give us an example.
What does that mean?
There's no question it's a monumental task.
The problem the problem they had is that the new house that they opened, Bloodbath, was so disconjointed and discombobulated, it made no sense. Putting Mr. Midnight with Midnight Syndicate and that little shit Mallory made no sense. I mean, Mr. Midnight and Mallory just had no place there at all. The only thing that saved the opening scare movies was Midnight Syndicate.
You were so far down the rabbit hole, though, bro.
Right. That's what. So, Michael, what I was going to say was, for your average user, your average park goer, it's awesome. Regardless,
some people may think it's awesome, but as time goes on and you keep going and going, and you start looking at how messed up things really are, you see how screwed up it is.
But most people don't know that. They go there, they have a good time, peace out, see you next year.
Yeah, most people are just totally oblivious to it.
I'm fine with that.
Well, yeah, and there's no question it's a monumental task to organize. And obviously it's working because people are just coming in droves, but I mean, if there's some management issues that's causing, I don't know if it's causing you lose a couple people there.
Here's
it's not just a couple
hire
people,
more people.
It's a lot of them.
But here's the thing: there's three issues. Number one, there's so many people. Those are like drips in a bucket. Hopefully, now maybe it's a warning sign. Maybe it's something you do have to look at. I get that. Number two, the record amounts of people that are streaming in must be some sort of challenge. And number three, the labor force has got to be another challenge. There are some monumental challenges coming off of COVID that they're having to deal with. So it could be incompetent management. It could be they're just dealing with what they have. And the hand that they've been dealt, because there are so many challenges to doing something like that.
You got to look at. I mean, we all know that labor is an issue everywhere right now, not just Cedar Point. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
It's at its lowest it's been in I don't know how long. There's just not enough workers out there to fill all the positions, and the problem with that is you got at Cedar Point is the busiest time of year is Halloween weekends. I don't know what their capacity is, off the top of my head, but it's
like
up
60,000 maybe.
I think it's 50.
60, 70,000 people, whatever it may be, funneling into the park, and you're already short staffed because you don't have enough workers.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to be a very good scenario.
Right.
Sorry, Andrew.
You got to remember, some employees too, when they've been there a long time, they always want it the same way. And when you introduce these new factors, which are, more bigger crowds, labor force, things like that, then sometimes things change by necessity, and sometimes they just have to change because, hey, you're working with different circumstances. So it's not always the people that are in charge that are the issue. It's that some circumstances are just not manageable, and you do the best you can with what you have.
Yeah, it may look like a bad decision on their part on the surface, but when you start digging deeper, there's reasons behind the decisions.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get it. All right. So off season is here. What do you guys think? Is it?
It's the best time. It's the best time of year because we can't go, and it makes it that much more exciting to when we can go again. And I'm not spending money in the park, so
I'd rather spend money in the park
here.
No, I need a break.
Winter chill.
It is a good point because you know, when you the love of it is missing it. So and I mean even towards the end of the season, it's not as cool as the last month as far as your excitement isn't the same as the first month. So you need that time off to get back to a first month again, the first month love.
For sure.
Like if my marriage was seasonal, that'd be amazing because then I knew that.
Oh my God, Andrew.
I knew that when
you might not see Andy next week.
I knew that when marriage season was coming, then I would be excited again, as opposed to marriage.
Oh,
wow!
I mean, I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something.
All of a sudden, the feed goes dark.
As opposed to
my wife would kill me if she did.
I will call Ashley right now.
As opposed to marriage being year round, you take it for granted. Then it needs to be seasonal. like
my wife would murder me right at that point.
Like this upcoming season, I'm like, do I want another platinum marriage pass? We'll have to see. I mean,
maybe we can just do a gold pass.
Depends on what access it grants you.
Yeah, maybe I just want a gold pass.
Speaking of missing,
I'm definitely not going to buy. I'm definitely not going to buy the food pass because it's disgusting.
You're saying her cooking is bad? Wow!
Oh my God!
I'm buying the season fast lane pass because I'm sick of waiting. I'm sick of waiting. Just kidding.
Well, I do gotta say the one cool thing is, like we mentioned in the last podcast, is some of the Cedar Fair parks are now reverting to year-round operations on weekends.
Yeah.
And if you have a platinum pass, bonus. You can go to
those,
you know?
Well, and speaking of that, Melissa Malloy commented, "There's always Kings Island Winterfest."
Absolutely.
And, I've been trying to go. I've never been.
And the wife and I are going to do it.
You're going to do it? Well, let me know because we tried to do it once.
Highly recommend Winterfest.
The wife and I are actually going to go down and do it.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, though.
Great thing.
I'll tell you what, though. You know, I don't know if it's the California in me. I just hate being cold. Like I just hate going out. I hate being outside and being cold. It's just. I mean, I know it's beautiful. We went one year and it was beautiful and it was everything. But man, I don't want to spend 6 hours out in the cold or 8 hours.
Yeah, maybe a couple hours.
You know what though? It really isn't too bad because there's the people there and a lot of the stuff's indoors. It's heated, so you're in you know, like the Fest House.
Yeah,
you know, big show in there, and they got food and indoor restaurants and this and that. You know, so unless you're riding the rides and that, or doing some of the outdoor stuff, you really don't have to spend a lot of time outside.
I just want to ride Mystic Timbers.
Yeah, that's good. And then they got an indoor coaster too. You know, so there you go.
Now let's talk about changes maybe for next year. Some food changes. Chicky and Pete's isn't going to be there. Is
Chicky and Pete's done and gone.
Done and gone. Okay, Dave, Michael.
You can confirm. You can confirm that, Michael.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
And
Melissa just mentioned they have insight into outdoor roller coaster. It's super fun. It is. I agree, Melissa.
So Chicky and Pete's, Michael has just confirmed it for us. They say that their Raising Cane's is going to go in there.
Really?
No. That's not going to be a Raising Cane's. That's by what I'm hearing word from the inside is that it's going to be some sort of brew house / pub that's going to go in there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they.
But isn't that what they're putting over on the boardwalk? A brewery?
I don't know, but I love Chicky and Pete's, man. It's a perfect spot to chill and sit down. It was one of the only 2 sit-down restaurants left inside the park, but you could also stop in and grab a drink at the bar. You know, if you got people going to ride Blue Streak or something.
It might still be that. There's something different, you know.
You know what would be nice? It would be nice, I think, is a Mexican restaurant. You know, the only thing you get is the walking taco right now. If you put you get some chips and salsa out on the patio and chill.
Yeah, but if you start unleashing a margarita on that park, all hell is.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
what is that called? Miss Keats or something in the back where you can build your own burritos?
Yeah. It's a poor man's Chipotle, but yeah, my kids.
I've never
like
eaten Miss Keats.
My wife says I
Here it's
wanted
good.
that. She's like, I want that. It's like, yeah, you just want Chipotle. We could go get Chipotle cheaper than what we're paying here.
Well,
I'm just saying, if there's going to be a margarita, forget it.
Yeah, you're right, Nicole. All hell's gonna break loose is right, because you're gonna get guys thinking they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, drunk as hell, trying to do shit, and it's not gonna fly.
Well, I do have to say that my daughter is I've never even seen the bowl, the burrito bowl place. My daughter loves it though. So
Donnie, you in trouble.
Busted.
Colleen just talked to Ashley about the marriage season pass.
Listen.
Pass. Oh
God.
Yeah.
It's seasonal. It's seasonal.
Oh, Colleen said her and Ashley said they just want the summer pass anyway as well.
All right. There you go.
There you go.
But no, I think a nice sit down Mexican restaurant would be cool. Chips, salsa, the queso.
100%.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, the overhead on Mexican food is pretty low. I mean, the cost to put something like that together is not that high, so the profit margin's there, and it's a favorite with people.
Well, I was trying to think. It's really the only thing missing. I mean, you have Italian. You've got there at the front of the park. You've got with Hugo's. You've got obviously you have Melt is more of a sports bar-y type place. You've got I mean, it was really the only thing that I could think of was.
Well, you used to have Los Gatos in the back that sold tacos right by Wave Swinger there. They sold the tacos. They no longer have that. That's now a pizza place. So you can't get tacos anywhere in the park. So
no,
that would be an opportunity, right there to have some tacos.
If they need a queso kitchen in there
I'm telling you, area. I don't know what you're waiting for.
Queso my God, Nicole, sit down restaurant.
Nicole, that would be a dream. If I could run my restaurant at Cedar Point, how cool would it be to go to work at Cedar Point every day and just be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. It'd be amazing.
Yep.
We could put you where Johnny Rockets used to be.
What do you mean used to be?
Johnny Rockets is gone too.
What?
Yep.
Johnny Rockets was awesome.
Wait, how do you not mention that till right now?
Yeah.
Because y'all were
heard of it.
and I was trying to bring it up.
What?
But
Johnny Rockets is also gone. Contract was up for them as well.
Wow.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
How? Okay.
Michael is like the master of doom today.
Because quite
Bad
frankly,
news
I
left
went
and right.
Grim Reaper, man. He's.
I'm not trying to be the Grim Reaper, but the wife wanted to go to Johnny Rockets one time. We were actually in the park. There's nothing even remotely anywhere on there on that little spot that said Johnny Rockets anymore. They took everything down that was Johnny Rockets.
Really?
So
yeah. What's there now?
Nothing. Nothing's there now. So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
So it was gone.
That's why I said we could put Andrew. We could put Andrew in the spot where Johnny Rockets was, because that's a major traffic area, dude.
Dude, how? I wonder who you get a hold of to talk to. That would be amazing.
Well, here's the thing. This is the interesting part, that if all the signage is gone and 5 of the 6 of us were there last weekend and none of us noticed it.
I know.
How much traffic is paying attention right there?
It was closed. They didn't even open it for Halloween weekend. So usually walk.
But if there was no signage, like
I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice. So
how did I miss that?
What am I, the only one that looks around my surroundings?
That's not as devastating to me.
Well, I gotta say, do you guys remember what used to be in that spot?
Go ahead, Donnie. What?
I was gonna say that's not as devastating to me as Chicken and Peas, because I don't even know if I've ever eaten at Johnny Rockets. I don't think I have.
Yeah, Johnny Rockets was
yeah.
See, I don't like having these chain restaurants in the park. I know that some people like that. I don't like that. I like the unique. I like Farmhouse. I like Backbeat. I like that there's unique concepts.
But what I do like, Nicole, is that if they're like Ohio chains, I think that's cool. Like Melt, I think being in there, I think it's kind of cool. Maybe a Frickers being in there might be kind of cool.
Oh, Frickers!
I tell you what I want in there right now, and I don't know why they don't have one in the park. It's an Ohio thing. Skyline Chili.
No,
in the park.
Skyline food on the planet. This is so disgusting.
Does Kings Island have a skyline? I think they do.
Ugh.
I think they do actually.
I think Kings Island has a skyline.
Kings Island has a couple skylines in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So can I tell you a story about Skyline Chili? I just did it this summer.
I think I know how it ends.
I think we all know how that is.
I've driven through
got
Ohio
really bad
my
diarrhea.
whole life. Oh my gosh. No, it's just gross. Like I've been like saying for years, we got to try this. We got to try this. We finally did it on our drive home from Nashville. And it was the worst thing I've ever eaten. Like, why is there so much cinnamon in chili? It's a joke in my house now.
Yeah,
everybody's like,
Nicole,
there's too much cinnamon. Because I was complaining so much.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
Nicole.
what was so bad about it, Nicole? Like, what was
terrible?
The taste. Well, she didn't like the taste.
Here's the problem, Nicole, is I consider myself a perfect palate. Like I know exactly, I know the stuff that I like that not everyone's gonna like, and I know what everyone likes. Like crumble cookie, everyone's gonna like crumble cookie. I mean, I just know they've nailed it. They've nailed it with crumble cookies. They've nailed. I know it's not me. I know that Raising Cane's is not good. I mean, I know for a fact. So I can, because I trust my palate that well. Skyline is something, it's terrible. But here's the thing. If you grew up on it, it's what you know, then you love it. It's hard at 40 years old to go try, especially for a woman. Who,
hey, man.
For a guy, you just put a...
Andrew.
For a guy who just puts a crap load of chili and then cheese on top, I think a guy's gonna like it. But a woman's palate is a little more refined. They're not gonna go at 30 or 40 years old and like Skyline chili.
I gotta tell you, Andrew, I didn't discover Skyline chili until I was in my 20s, going to Kings Island. I had it for the first time in Kings Island.
And you love
it? Had one back home where I'm from in Lima.
We have a recommendation in the text thread.
I didn't have it for the first time till I was 30. I love Skyline chili, but I know it's not good to the average. Like I know it's a regional thing that the average person isn't going to like it. It's not mainstream. It's got a weird taste to where you're going to get your people that like it. But I mean, I like the little hot dogs with all the cheese on top, and oh man, I love it.
Yeah, just leave off the chili.
Yeah,
Skyline chili.
It's a funky taste, though. All right. So a ride of the week, Dave.
Well, we're going to go back to a ride that's no longer there in the park.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it opened in 2010 and closed in end of 2015. Shoot the Rapids.
Oh my god.
I remember that.
Yes,
I remember that one.
The Frontier Fling now sits the bungee tower that's always closed.
High drama.
But it was short-lived. It, like I said, lasted 5 seasons. It was kind of a loose take on a log flume. Instead of a log, you're in like a little boat, and you had a couple of drops and hills.
I remember that.
Yeah,
it was a decent ride. Other than the horrific accident is the reason why it closed.
Yeah,
but
they had a lot of.
What happened? What was the accident?
It was Intamin produced the ride, and we all know they're just their track record. They're not very reliable, so they had all kinds of issues with the ride, unfortunately. And then they had that incident at the end of its lifespan there, where a boat kind of tipped a little bit and
it fell backwards. It fell backwards down the lift hill and flipped backwards. So the people in the boat behind it got out of their boat and actually tipped them back over. But so no one was.
We had a rollback, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it really
not a fun.
It really was
rollback,
actually a
Dylan.
rollback.
Kind of a dark one.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because the park really is missing a log flume ride. I think every major park should have a log flume. That's great because you don't get soaked on it. You just kind of get that splash of water, cools you off, and it's fun. Yeah. Especially
I love it. And I do have to say, man, thank you we had so many comments today that we don't usually get. We appreciate that, you guys. The growing of the podcast, we appreciate that. We are going to continue it through the off season because we love just hanging out and talking about Cedar Point. Also want to say hi to our number one fan, Trump 2024. The dude is awesome. He's my favorite. He really is my favorite.
Such a positive guy, isn't he?
Yeah, super. I love it.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
All right, you guys.
I want to say real quick that I'm glad that I'm still on here because like a few minutes ago, I don't know what happened. I didn't hit a button. It just backed out, and then I was trying to figure out how to get back in. So I'm glad I didn't leave.
Glad you're here.
Thank God for all of us, Dylan. Dylan, for Michael, for Nicole, for Donnie P, Dave Chapman, Music Park Portal. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Are we doing next week or 2 weeks? Something like that. Well, anyway, we'll see you guys. Bye, everybody.